What's going on, guys? My name is Kyle. Welcome back to the Games Department, and today we're going to talk about audio, specifically microphones. Now, some of you guys might not know too much about microphones. You might know a little bit about microphones. We're going to gauge it, but I want to run you through a couple of different things that helped me, might help you, whether you're streaming, making YouTube videos, filming vlogs, whatever the situation. I'm going to run you through a couple of basics. So when we talk about microphones, you might hear a couple of different words thrown around. You might hear condenser, XLR, interface, all these sort of things that sort of work together but sort of don't, if that makes sense. The first thing they're going to talk about is a USB condenser microphone, which should be the best entry for most people. So if you're looking to get a cheap microphone to get you on your way, a USB condenser is generally the way to go. They're cheap, they're readily available, you can pretty much find them anywhere, and they're a really good starting point for anybody who's starting to get into making content. So USB condensers come in a bunch of different shapes and sizes. I actually have one here that I started using when I first started making videos years ago on a channel that does not even exist anymore, for the sole purpose of it wasn't great content. This is an MXL Tempo. So this is an MXL USB condenser. You can see at the bottom it's got the USB connector point. It also has a headphone out. So with this one device, this is essentially going to be your audio interface. So you plug this in via USB, you can have your audio monitoring to the back with a set of headphones, and that's it. It's plug and play. You don't need to get any drivers, you don't need to do anything else. You plug it in with the cable that's provided and your sound. You've got a good microphone that does everything it needs to for the price. I think I actually bought this for like, I'm going to say just over $100 Australian back in the day, which I think is a very, very reasonable price for something that I still have now, and it still works perfectly for me now. If I'm on the go somewhere, I've got a laptop with me or whatever the case may be, instead of having to take a USB interface as well as a microphone, as well as XLR cables, everything like that, I can take this, take the USB cable that comes with it, and I've got a microphone that actually records quite well. So let's say you're starting your own Twitch stream. Your headphones don't come with a microphone, or you've used the microphone before and you're not quite happy with the quality and you want to step it up to get something a little bit nicer. You don't have to break the bank, you can get a USB condenser. Generally they come with these tiny little tripods that screw into the bottom of the mount. So what happens is this will sit on your desk in front of you. It'll pick up a lot of the room noise. You can put things like gates and noise suppression and things like that on the microphone effect itself to sort of deaden all the dead sound around you and all the echoey sound, but you can only do so much, if that makes sense, without buying a more expensive mic or getting a different option. So you can actually elevate the functionality of this USB condenser without this little tripod legs and move to a boom arm. So something like this, I think we paid $15 for it. It's not expensive at all. It comes with a tiny little desk clamp on the bottom. You clamp that to the bottom of your desk. It actually extends and runs out, and your microphone then attaches to this. It's a really, really good option if you want something to sort of bring into frame, take out of frame. It's never always there. It gets it off the desk, out of the space in front of you. And it does make the functionality a little bit easier. Obviously these ones, the cheaper you go, the worse it's going to be. I know that goes without saying. I have two of these because they were $15. They were in a little bargain bin at the music shop that we both go to, and it was good enough for what we needed at the time. I currently have the Rode PSA-1, which is a much better boom arm. It holds a lot better, more weight. It's not as loud. It's just a much better boom arm. You'll understand straight away what I mean when you look into them or touch them or have a look at them yourself. The cheaper you go, they're not going to last anywhere near as long as a better sound, a better boom. Obviously they can get really, really expensive. It all depends on what you're willing to spend and what you want to put into the stream or put into your videos or whatever the case is going to be. It depends on what money you want to put in to see some sort of return or make it a little bit easier for yourself in the future. Now let's say you've used your USB condenser, you've used your cheap boom arm, your content's starting to get a little bit of traction, your Twitch stream's growing a little bit, your YouTube channel's growing a little bit, whatever the case may be. You may even want to just shell out a little bit more and upgrade. It's now time to get something a little bit nicer. That's where you get something like this. This is an XLR condenser microphone. It might not be the most ideal for the situation I have. The only reason I use this is because I actually had one already. It was just sheer coincidence. So you can see at the bottom it is absolutely filthy. You can see at the bottom here it's got an XLR input. Now what this needs is you need a USB or any sort of audio interface to use this microphone. So I myself use a PreSonus 96 Audiobox. I'll put a link in the description or a little photo or something down the bottom. That's what I use. It's a little 2-channel interface. It's all bus powered through the USB, so I don't need an external power source for it. It sort of does help a little bit of the portability. it does exactly what I needed to do for now. All I generally need is a guitar input and a microphone input, or when I'm streaming, just a microphone input, and it works perfectly for me. I can monitor my headphones, I can do everything that I need to do with this XLR, and it does give me the option to use a better quality microphone. Now with XLR microphones, you've got essentially two different kinds. I'm not going to go too crazy into detail, but I'll give you a little bit of a lowdown so it makes a little bit of sense. So the two different kinds is you've got a condenser, which is what this is, and a dynamic microphone, which, hang on, I have a dynamic microphone, 1 second.
A few moments later.
Whoo! Okay, lad, I'm not going to show you what, I ran upstairs, I went around, I couldn't find it, I have no idea where the bloody thing is, but I'm going to put there's a little photo right here, that's what it is, it's a Rode M1, so it's a dynamic microphone. Now a dynamic microphone itself is going to be much more enclosed in what's actually going into the mic, if that makes sense. It's not going to pick up a lot of the room audio. Say this is the microphone right here. With this, it's going to pick up everything because it's a condenser. If this was a dynamic microphone, it would only sort of pick up things in this general area. So whatever's coming into the front, everything around the back isn't really going to get picked up, and not too much of the room sound as well. It's really going to be whatever's coming straight into that microphone. If that makes sense? I hope that makes sense. You guys understand, you're not idiots, you get it. Alright, so we've gone through USB condensers, we've gone through dynamic and condenser XLR microphones. Now let's say you're where I am in the audio journey and you want to progress to something a little bit better. Do you get a better XLR microphone? Yes, you can, but if your USB interface or your audio interface isn't going to be good enough for that next microphone purchase, then it's obviously not really worth it. There are things on the market that you can get that I'm sure most of you have heard from these videos, which is called a cloud lifter, and what it does is essentially add a little bit of gain. I think it's 20 or 30 dB of gain between your microphone and your USB interface. Otherwise, say with a microphone like this one, which is the Rode Pod mic, which is actually the mic I want to grab, it takes a bit of gain to get that one going, and I don't think that this USB interface that I currently rock will allow that. Another really popular condenser XLR is a Shure SM7B. Now that one I'm sure you see every streamer has them. A lot of musicians use them as well because they are a great microphone, but it does take a bit of gain to get that bad boy going. And unfortunately with a cheap interface, it's not going to allow that. So people buy cloud lifters. I think they're like $150, $150, don't quote me, something around that price, and it just helps boost that gain between your microphone and your interface. But if you were to get, say, a Go XLR, just for example, obviously because it's a very popular bit of equipment. Now with the preamps built into the Go XLR, a higher quality XLR mic that needs more gain will actually be able to go straight into the Go XLR. I've actually seen Harris Haller from Alpha Gaming put a Shure SM7B straight into a Go XLR just to prove this point that the preamps in the TC Helicon device are actually good enough and strong enough to allow that higher quality microphone to go straight into the device itself without needing an extra cloud lifter or anything like that. Now it all comes down to your personal opinion and what you prefer. Obviously, this is not going to be a crazy long video. This is not going to be something that I'm going to sit and lecture people on because I am not an expert on the topic. I like to think I have a bit of an understanding about audio and audio devices, but definitely not enough to sit here and give you a welcome to my masterclass sort of video. That's not what this is supposed to be. I just wanted to help give you a real basic understanding of audio devices and microphones and what sort of stepping stones you could use. You don't have to use these tips, but whatever sort of stepping stones you need to go from, the start to better to better to best. If that makes sense. My audio journey certainly hasn't ended at all by any means. I currently rock this XLR condenser with a cheaper USB interface. I do want to go up to a Go XLR, but at the moment in Australia it is very, very difficult to find stock. I think it is the same everywhere in the country, obviously with COVID-19 putting a bit of a strain on manufacturing and distribution of most products. I completely understand, but as soon as I can get one, I'm probably going to get one because it's going to be better for me because I stream with 2 PCs and it's a headache. It's a headache to sort it out without the proper equipment. Anyway, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. If you want to come and check out my stream, I stream on Twitch at TheGameDept every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 4:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. We also sometimes chuck a little Saturday stream in there if we have no other plans or if I can't be bothered filming a YouTube. Anyway, that's completely irrelevant. Also, check us out on all other socials. If you want to go to our site, it's www.thegamedept.com. You'll have most links there to come and say what's up. Do whatever you want. Also, if you have any questions, please leave them below. I know I might not have explained this as well as I could have, but I'm very, very happy to answer as many questions as I can. Also, jump to the stream and ask them real time if you want an answer immediately. I'm 9 times out of 10 gonna read your chat messages because I'm good like that. Other than that, I hope you have a good morning. I hope you have a good night.